Most people don't waste their lives in one moment. They waste it one day at a time, one distracted morning, one unplanned afternoon, one excuse that tomorrow will be better. And without knowing it, they've built a legacy of delay. The greatest tragedy in life is not failure, it's wasting potential while calling it normal. They'll say things like, "I'm doing fine," but fine is the enemy of fire. Fine is the sound of your life going quiet. Fine is the mask people wear when they've stopped expecting more of themselves. But here's the truth. Your life is the echo of how you spend your days. Not the big goals, not the dramatic turning points, not the speeches or the posts or the big wins. Your life is built quietly. It's on Tuesday mornings and Friday nights when no one's watching, on the hours no one counts but you, because the greatest power you'll ever hold is the power to master today. That's the shift. That's the transformation most never make. They chase a year from now and ignore the 12 hours in front of them. They talk about their 5-year plan but don't own their next 15 minutes. But the ones who rise, they don't just plan years, they own hours. They treat the morning like a ritual, the afternoon like a decision, the evening like a harvest. They don't ask, "How much can I get done?" They ask, "Who am I becoming by how I spend this day?" And that's what changes everything. Because once you master a day, you don't just become productive, you become dangerous. You become the kind of person who finishes, who follows through, who stacks momentum while everyone else scrolls. You don't chase motivation, you create rhythm. You don't fight the day, you frame it. You wake up and say, "This day doesn't own me, I own it." Not with perfection, but with presence, with direction, with choices aligned to who you've decided to become. That's what mastery looks like, not flashy, but focused, not chaotic, but committed, not busy, but built. Because your habits are not just tasks, they're votes for your identity. You make your bed, that's not a chore, it's a vote. You show up on time, that's not logistics, it's character. You write the page, do the rep, follow the schedule, not because it's exciting, but because it's aligned. Alignment beats energy. Discipline beats inspiration. And consistency multiplies everything. One disciplined day is not just a win, it's the seed of a standard. You do it again, and that seed becomes a root. Do it again, and it becomes a system. Do it again, and it becomes you. That's how you build a life that compounds, not by chasing, but by planting, not by reacting, but by owning the tiny hinges that swing big doors. So ask yourself, what do you tolerate in your day that would be unacceptable in your life? Because what you allow in the small is what defines you in the large. You want more income, master your hours. You want more confidence, master your habits. You want more freedom, master your focus. Because freedom is not found in escaping structure, it's found in building it. The people who feel stuck are often the ones refusing to decide how they'll show up each day. But when you decide, truly decide, that your day matters, that every morning is a declaration, every hour is an investment, every moment is a mirror of your future. You don't drift, you don't delay, you design. And once you start designing your days, you don't just become more productive, you become more powerful. Because power isn't being able to control others, it's being able to control yourself, regardless of conditions. And that starts with the day. The day you control is the life you begin to multiply. Because what is a life? It's not years. It's a handful of well-designed days repeated. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, lost behind, stop trying to fix your life, fix your day, own the day, and the life comes with it. And once you realize that, you stop waiting for motivation, because now you understand motivation is a result, not a requirement. It's what shows up after the action, not before it. You don't wait to feel ready, you move. You move tired. You move uncertain. You move imperfect. Because movement is what makes the mind sharp. You don't rise by knowing more. You rise by doing what you already know. That's why the calendar is your kingdom. Every hour you waste isn't just lost, it's compounding backwards. Every sloppy morning adds drag to your momentum. Every unguarded evening leaks belief. Every it's just one time becomes your new standard. But when you own your time, you're not just productive. You're declaring to yourself, I matter. This mission matters. That's the hidden cost of wasting days. It's not time you lose, it's belief. Belief in yourself, belief that you follow through, belief that what you say and what you do are the same thing. Because when your actions betray your intentions, your confidence bleeds out. And when confidence dies, so does momentum. And when momentum dies, nothing moves. But all of that can change today, because it's not about hustle, it's about honor. Honoring the day, honoring the promise, honoring the person you say you want to become by acting like them before you feel like them. That's the real shift. And it's uncomfortable at first, because it's easier to stay busy than to get serious. It's easier to plan than to perform. It's easier to scroll your way through discomfort than to sit with it and do the work. But here's the raw truth: if you don't run your day will run you. And it won't run you toward greatness. It'll run you toward average, toward noise, toward distraction disguised as progress, toward comfort dressed up as clarity. But if you want to build something that lasts, if you want to stack days that mean something, you have to break up with comfort and fall in love with commitment. You commit not to perfection, but to ownership, because no one is coming to manage your time. No one is coming to rearrange your hours. No one is coming to hand you the structure of a champion. It's you. You decide how this day plays out. You decide what gets built. You decide whether you live on default or on purpose. And when you start doing that, you start multiplying everything. Your belief multiplies. Your execution multiplies. Your results multiply. Because momentum is not magic. It's what happens when you do the right thing repeatedly without needing to feel like it. The gym gets easier, the focus gets sharper, the decisions get faster, because you've trained your nervous system to expect alignment. You stop negotiating with your lower self. You stop asking, should I? You start saying, this is what I do now. That's not restriction, that's freedom. Because now your days have direction. They're not random anymore. They're built, and a built day becomes a built week. A built week becomes a built season. And a built season becomes a life you don't need to escape from. Most people build weeks they have to recover from, but you're building days that compound, and when your days compound, you stop surviving time, and you start using it like the weapon it was meant to be. Time was never meant to be endured. It was meant to be leveraged. But you can't leverage what you don't respect. So the question becomes, do you respect your hours enough to master them? Do you respect your calling enough to guard it with structure? Do you respect your future enough to start building it today? Because the future isn't written in some vision board. It's written in calendars, in routines, in what you do with this hour, right now. And when you truly begin to live that way, not occasionally, not when it's easy, but daily, you become something the world rarely sees anymore. A person of rhythm, not a person of moods, not a person of chaos, not a person waiting for the right vibe to act, but someone who moves like clockwork with force, with focus, with inner gravity. And that rhythm, it makes you dangerous. Because now you don't need the weather to be right. You don't need external fire. You've built internal command. That's the person the world starts to notice. The one who shows up every time. Not loud, not desperate, but certain. Because your days no longer ask permission, they command direction. And in a world that's distracted, delayed, and drowning in options, you become rare, you become trusted. You're not known for how fast you move, you're known for how unshakably you move forward. People feel it in your words, in how you protect your time, in the way you walk into a room like your day already has momentum behind it. Because it does, you've turned days into discipline, and discipline into identity. That's the truth. Nobody wants to admit. You don't become unstoppable through willpower. You become unstoppable by deciding who you are every day and acting like it. And when you do that, your hours start working for you. You become the kind of person who's trusted with vision. Not because you're special, but because you've proven you can handle the basics without flinching. That's the test most people fail. They want abundance, but can't manage a morning. They want freedom, but can't control a phone. They want success, but their days are run by impulse and noise. But you're building something different. You're not chasing productivity. You're building alignment. Alignment between your beliefs and your behavior, your goals and your calendar, your values and your actual habits. And when all those things match, when your actions and your intentions finally walk in sync, that's when time starts to stretch for you. Not literally, but in power, in leverage, in results. Because what you build in a focused day, most people take weeks to create. And that's not arrogance. That's what happens when you stop wasting energy on redeciding, renegotiating, rejustifying who you are. You've already decided. You've already designed. Now you just deliver. And the more days you stack like that, the more the world moves out of your way. Not because it's easier now, but because you're clearer now. Clarity multiplies force, and your clarity was earned in lonely mornings, structured hours, and quiet reps. Because behind every powerful person is a long line of boring, focused, ordinary days that no one clapped for, and they wouldn't have it any other way, because they know you don't get extraordinary results from extraordinary effort. Once in a while, you get it from mastering the ordinary, over and over, without apology. You start to crave simplicity. You crave schedule. You crave friction because you've seen what it produces. And you stop envying those who move fast because you know what matters, who moves consistently. That's how you multiply, not with drama, not with intensity once a month, but with deliberate, intentional, committed days stacked one on top of another, brick on brick, standard on standard, until what you once called discipline just becomes normal. And your normal becomes other people's. How do you do all this? You don't explain. You don't list your habits. You just smile. Because you know the truth. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters repeatedly until you don't recognize who you used to be. This is what you've built, not some morning routine you copied, not a system you'll abandon next month, not a highlight reel for strangers. You've built command of yourself, of your days, of your direction, and that command is worth more than motivation, more than attention, more than applause, because this isn't a trend, this isn't a phase. This is your operating system now. Every hour you own proves it. Every no you say to distraction proves it. Every time you shut the door, silence the noise, and return to the mission, you remind yourself, I run this. And that quiet power, it spills into every part of your life. You speak differently. You think with structure. You walk into conversations with clarity, not chaos. You stop needing to get your life together, because you already got today together, and that's enough. Because when you stack days like this, You stop chasing transformation and start embodying it. You no longer talk about becoming your best self. You wake up and walk in it, not perfectly, but powerfully. You'll still get knocked down. You'll still miss days. You'll still feel lost sometimes. But now you know what to return to. You have a home base your day. Your schedule isn't a cage. It's a compass. It reminds you who you are when the world tries to make you forget. And as your days keep multiplying, so does your belief, so does your clarity, so does your impact. You no longer react to life, you build it. One aligned hour at a time, one strong morning at a time, one no-excuse evening at a time. That's how it happens. Not with a bang, but with a rhythm. The world doesn't need more hype. It needs more humans who show up for themselves regardless of how they feel. More builders, more quiet leaders, more people who understand that a life of purpose is made of days well lived. You are now one of them because you chose to master the one thing that always mattered your day. You stopped wishing, you stopped waiting, you stopped bargaining with time, and you started leading it. So now, when someone asks you, how did you change your life? You won't talk about breakthroughs or luck or some big moment. You'll say the most powerful words a person can speak. I mastered my days. And then my days multiplied everything